Okay, I've made you the host. So now it's all your
All
show.
right. All right. Let's I think Hunter and Laura said they were coming in.
Yeah, I expect them.
Yeah.
Did you have a chance to look at the email from Naomi?
I did. Yeah. Yeah, so that's a big thing, huh?
I yeah, I mispronounced her name. Naima? Naima?
Na yeah, Naima.
Yeah, Naima maybe. Yeah, so I guess we can, I mean, because it certainly will may change some of the plans that
On
we
the plan.
discussed last
Yeah,
week.
yeah, for sure. Mm.
I'm gonna get my water. I'll be right back.
Yeah, no worries.
Oh, we have my water right here. So weird. Oh my God, Grandpa is still texting me. Oh shit, I'm on. Yikes.
Welcome, David. Hello, Laura. Hello, David.
Hi there. How are you today?
Overall good. Overall good. Running around here and there, but
Yeah.
we're good. Um, I want to say let's wait until what, 7:05, see if more people come in.
Laura, did you get that signed letter from Paula?
I did not, but if you want, I can just,
She
I
said she
have her
sent it to you.
signature.
Can
Huh?
you please check your email? She said she sent it to you.
Huh.
She said, I asked her, texted her. Oh, never mind. Let's go ahead and start. Uh, I don't want to take over.
That's okay. I'll look. I can
Okay.
look.
Yeah. Hey, Hunter, welcome.
Okay.
And then it says call in user. I'm not sure who that is, but welcome.
Teresa, the answer is I got two emails and they have a combination of three separate pages scanned. Is that how long the letter was? They're not numbered pages.
Laura, I don't know. I forwarded to you the letter
And
that was
I understand.
reapproved.
Okay.
I sent it to you and Paula. I
compare
mean, you and I
contrast.
talked about this.
I
And
know.
I thought you were just going to talk to her and then sign
I
it
left
and
her
then
a
send it out.
message.
And
I understand.
yeah,
She sent me today in answer to your question, three separate pages scanned. I will compare and contrast to the letter. Hopefully it's complete, it's signed. And if it is, I'll put them together and send it out. Hopefully it's complete.
All right, everybody, welcome. We're gonna go ahead and get this meeting started. Once again, hello, my name is Aber Martinez. I am the chair of the UNNC Elections Committee. We're gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. We'll review the agenda and get this going.
Heather, may I
Yes,
interrupt a minute, please?
yes,
I'm not
yes, yes.
seeing the, is YouTube going? Because I'm not seeing the icon for that on my end.
I believe so, Teresa.
yep, we're streaming.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, yeah, we should be good to go.
Yeah, look at the
Yeah.
top. It says YouTube,
Okay,
live on YouTube. Is that what you were
okay,
asking,
so we're,
Laura?
yeah,
It was covered up by the screen share, sorry. I've adjusted my
oh,
screen to accommodate everything.
okay. All right, so let's go ahead and review the agenda. First first item is a call to order, review of the agenda, then we welcome and attendee introductions, general public comments, 1 to 2 minutes per speaker. As always, these are comments not related to any items on the agenda. Number four, we're gonna go over the initial budget for the elections, phase one. We have a little discussion. We do have some prices and stuff that we can talk. Then there's a little run robin discussion on the election schedule and other elections committee business. There was an email that was sent earlier today, like an hour or two before our meeting. So we do have to discuss a couple of that. Once that's done, we will adjourn. Hopefully, everything goes well. And yeah, let's go ahead and start with introductions. Like I said, my name is Eber Martinez. I am the chair of the elections committee. And next I see Laura.
Um, yes, this is Laura Myers. I am a board member of UNNC. I live in Angeles Vista and I'm UNNC's vice president.
And then anybody else, you can feel free to take it away.
I'll go. I'm Hunter. I'm a UNNC board member and the chair of the communications committee.
Hi, everybody. Oh, go ahead, David.
No problem. Thanks. Sorry. I'm David Osei. I'm a board member of the UNNC.
Hi, everybody. I'm Teresa Masonette. I represent the West Adams Avenues on the board of the UNNC.
All right. Welcome everybody. Does anybody have any general public comments? Do we have a call-in user? I don't know who that is. Would you like to introduce yourself? No? Okay. Well, yeah. Anybody have any public comments? Anything that they would like to comment on at this time? Items that are not on the agenda? No? If so, we move on in 3, 2, 1. All right, let's get to the main portion of this meeting, which is basically the initial budget for the elections, phase one. As a little recap from last meeting, we are gonna do this in phases. Basically, phase one is gonna go and basically get candidates, right? And as we discussed last time, we're gonna try and make sure to uh have them by our December governor's board meeting. Try to have that bring one, each one bring one type of thing. But in order to also spread the word and all this other stuff, we are gonna have some flyers made and stuff. And so I thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Teresa, for helping me going and to introduce with the Print Depot people. We talked with them. We got some quotes. I have some sample stuff that I can get to show you as we talk a little bit about it. Um, but yeah, so the first we're gonna go to the board with our budget for our phase one. So this is just this initial part to go and get spread the word out that there's an election coming up, and if you would like to run for the UNNC, it we'll get candidates basically. So that's the first part of this phase. Any questions so far on that, David? Anything that you would like to know? Any questions or anything like that? If not, let's jump into the quotes. Oh, Theresa, sorry.
Thank you, Ever. Do you think it's important possibly to discuss the email that came out that instead of having an election, we would just have a selection to discuss that now? Or is that going to have any impact on this phase approach that we talked about?
Laura?
Well, either way, we would need candidates. I don't know what Empower LA is going, in other words, part of that email, which we will discuss under item 5, said that Dunn will give us more information. So we don't have more information at the moment. But either way, we need to solicit candidates. The timing may change. I don't know. But I think we could go ahead with a phase 1 budget to approve whether we're soliciting candidates for a C-election process or an election. So I think for tonight, it's okay to do it in this order because the budget items you have are the
Okay.
budget items.
All right. Thank you, Laura. Thank you. Ever, is that how you'd like to proceed?
I
Discussing the budget?
I hmm. I think so, just so that I mean, we are still gonna need, candidates, like she said, like she mentioned, like Laura mentioned, we do need candidates, and I think that we would still need to get the word out. So I think
Okay.
phase one isn't as as affected as phase two or any other stuff. So we would still need to it. Candace Jackson has just come in, so welcome. Candace, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. My name is Candace Jackson, and I am the treasurer this year for UNNC. So, popping by to help in the budget talk and give suggestions about a possible budget for elections.
Okay. Well, with that, I think now that since our our treasurer is here, I think we should discuss a budget, and maybe she could give a little perspective. So basically to kind of get you up to speed, Candace, and again, David, we're gonna go through phases in this election. So the first phase is getting candidates, getting the word out that we're having an election, and we need candidates. If you would like to run, do A, B, or C. And so that's going to happen through social media, but also through flyers and other methods. Like I was saying, Teresa was kind enough to join me and introduce me to the Print Depot people. We talked to them a little bit about what we wanted, and they did give us a couple of quotes for what we are trying to do. Now, the question at hand is that today we got sent an email by Naima Pullman from the city. And so there is a option to change the way how the elections would go from an actual general election of mail-in ballots and all this other stuff to an appointments thing. So there's no details on exactly how that would go, but if the governing board or if the individual neighborhood council chooses to do that, then they can do that, but they can't go back to the other format basically. Now, that's something that we can discuss a little bit more later. What we kind of came to an agreement right now is that whether they're appointed or they need to be voted in, we still need candidates. So I think that phase one is largely unaffected by that. So we could still discuss a little bit of the budget issues and how much we would need, et cetera, on that. Any questions so far, David, Candice, or anybody else?
Yeah, I just had a really quick question. So far, I agree. Like you said, we're still going to need candidates. So obviously, moving forward with how we're going to get the word out is best. But just with that piece that you mentioned about whether we would move to sticking with the mail-in or going to the appointment kind of process for this, would that be a decision that is made solely by our committee, or would that just be a larger governing board decision? Just wanted to get a little bit more information there to kind of understand a bit more.
I would, well, I think we have some opinions going on. So, yeah, Teresa, go for it.
Thank you, Ever. So the email said that the governing board would have to decide. I think it would probably be best if this committee gave the governing board a recommendation, or at least said, here are the pros and cons for doing an election, and here are the pros and cons for doing a selection process. But ultimately, it's the governing board who we will make a motion, and then the governing board will vote to approve or
Okay.
not.
That's what I had thought. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, Laura?
Yeah, and I'm not sure, this is why we would have been better off having the done information at the same time. I think a selection is not just appointments the way we've been doing it. I think it's an event, or, a singular event. And at that point, the board or whoever's there, I mean, I'm not sure how it works, votes for the people who are in the room running for something. I mean, we need more information, but it's not the process we've been engaging in to make appointments, that's for sure. But it would not involve needing to pay money to get word out to people to apply for a ballot, nor would we have to get word out to return your ballot and be just a different process, which we don't know what it is. But either, no matter what it is or when it is, because I don't know if it sticks to the same Region 10 timeline either. We know nothing. We just got this email. We do know that we need candidates, and we do know that if we are sticking to an election, that the filing starts on December 6th, and thus we need a budget voted on at the November meeting. Most likely, we would need to vote on this other thing also at the November meeting, because, or a special meeting in November, because the deadline is December 3rd. So, so this is all happening real fast, but we need to do the budget. I mean, Miss Bureaucrat over here, named Laura, says we need to follow the agenda in case people are coming in late and they didn't want to talk about the budget, but they wanted to do the round robin. So we shouldn't be doing the round robin at this time.
Okay. I make a motion to amend the agenda to allow discussion for the round robin.
Anybody seconds?
I second.
And now we vote on it, is what we're saying, or we go for it?
I don't know if you want to take a vote or not.
You would have to vote.
Yeah, we would have to vote. Okay.
Then
All right.
let's take a vote, please, if you don't mind, Ever, on the amending the agenda to discuss item number 5.
All right. So everybody, if you could, by the show of your hands, either the reaction or your actual hands, all in favor of amending the agenda and moving item 5 up and doing the round robin discussion before the budget, please do so now. All in favor? If you're in favor of moving the agenda items. Okay, anybody opposed? And the ayes have it, the motion passes. Okay, so then we are amending the agenda to do the round robin discussion, I guess, and then yeah, we're gonna do the round robin discussion to talk a little bit about what this is, the implications that are happening. and then kind of get on the same page, make a recommendation, and then we'll discuss on the budget because we do have the prices and stuff. I don't think it should take that long when it comes to the prices and stuff. Okay. So let's go and talk with yeah, Teresa.
Thank you, Ever. So my comment is, and Laura briefly mentioned this about the timing. The email said that we have to make a decision by December 3rd. Our governing board meeting is not until December the 5th, if that is correct. So that means if we decide to go with the selection process, not the election process, that will have to be done at the November board meeting. I don't think very many people are interested in having a special meeting just to vote on this, especially as we get closer to the holidays. So I think it's something that we, just based on the limited information we have, we should have, let's discuss it knowing that we're going to have to make a recommendation to the board for November.
All right, Laura.
Yeah, I'm looking on the Zoom website and quickly found, because I didn't look until this moment, quickly found a description of selections from 2019. If I can share the screen if somebody lets me, if you want, or I can just run through it. That's
You found what exactly?
There's a page about what are neighborhood council selections on the Dunn website,
Oh, I see. Okay.
but it's from 2019, so I don't know.
Oh, well,
It's the
I think
same
that they're
process.
probably
So I
gonna
can
they might
I can share if I made a co-host, or I can tell you what it says. I don't care.
if anything, just give us a a little overview of what it says
Okay.
because we don't know
Well,
that they're gonna adhere
That's
to
fine.
it anyway.
That's fine. It's a every council shall use a town hall style selection process. And at the town hall, each qualified candidate shall have 2 minutes to make a statement and 2 minutes to answer any questions. Candidates shall speak in alphabetical order. There's got to be a neutral third party that's making sure an equal amount of time is allotted to everybody. I mean, it's kind of detailed like that. It's a town hall event type process. Candidates may apply on an application developed by the board.
Okay.
And outreach for candidates, the neighborhood council shall conduct outreach for candidates as described in its outreach plan, which we don't have, and for a period of no less than 30 days. And then within 20 days of the town hall, information about the town hall, its selection process, and the candidates should be on the NC posting locations. And that physically is supposed to be at the South City's house, FYI. There isn't really a place to easily post, 20 or, lots and lots of candidate statements. So I don't know how that would work. Again, this is 2019. And in the case of board seats remaining unfilled at the end of the selection process, board members shall fill the vacancy pursuant to the vacancy clause in the bylaws. So essentially, it creates an event where people come together. But that may or may not be what they're going to tell us. They may or may not allow, they meaning Dunn, the Department of Neighborhood Empowerment, may respond to this by saying only those neighborhood councils that had the option in their bylaws may do this. I mean, this was just the clerk saying what the clerk said. So we don't even know if we're allowed to or not. I don't remember in our bylaws us having such an option. But it might be in the boilerplate that I don't remember.
I
What it does do is create better reach and more of a meeting of people and more talking about UNNC instead of, we'd be spending our time trying to create buzz to get people to a room somewhere and, maybe get volunteers for other things, et cetera, instead of spending our time trying to get people to figure out how to get ballots and then fill them out and send them back.
Okay. Thank you, Laura. Hunter.
I was just gonna say I like the idea of having a town hall discussion like that. I feel like Dunn might have more specifics that they're not sharing yet that might or might not be allowed. I don't know,
Right.
it's tough. I'm kind of middle of the road on this because I feel like it's sort of like, I don't know, a little undemocratic to just change from an election to selection. But at the same time, I think it's a little silly of us to spend all this money on an election and then have five people vote. You know what I mean? Um, so I'm curious what other people think, honestly, about if we would even want to do this. I wish they had sent more information. It's unfortunate that we have to make this decision in the next week. But I guess we just have to work with the tools we're given.
Yeah, right before David and Candace, did you guys read it? Have you guys read it, that letter or that was sent? Did you read it, Candace, David?
I just read it.
Or you just read David?
Yeah.
I haven't been able to read it in full as of yet, but just was gonna kind of piggyback off what Hunter was saying. I kind of agree in that sense. I'm definitely kind of pulled in between both, but as you said, to rush and make the decision, obviously, but like you said, we don't want to be delegating so much of the valuable budget if we do end up having a lower turnout. I don't know. There's just seems like there's more that needs to be understood there before we can make a recommendation.
All right, so for the sake of transparency and the sake of everything, let me read this letter out loud. And I know a lot of us have already read it, but at least David, you'll kind of see what they're saying.
Thank you.
Like Laura has said, this is from the office of the city clerk. So it's not from the neighborhood empowerment office per se. Although I'm pretty sure they were made aware of this was coming down the line or something like that. But anyway, let me just go ahead and read it, and then we can go and dissect it a little bit more, talk a little bit about this situation, okay? So, dear Neighborhood Council board members, we are writing to address concerns received from board members regarding the use of the all vote by mail election model to conduct the upcoming 2025 Neighborhood Council elections. As mentioned, neighborhood councils previously, the office of the city clerk did not receive funding to conduct at poll elections. As such, there will be no at poll elections during the 2025 election cycle. However, in response to requests made to use a different voting model, neighborhood councils will have an opportunity to change from an election to a selection process for the 2025 election cycle. Please note, this change will require board action. Empower LA will provide additional information and steps for making the change from election to selection. The office of the city clerk will not be involved in the selection process. If a neighborhood council votes to proceed with the change, it cannot revert back to an election during the 2025 cycle. Since the change impacts candidate filing, any changes must be communicated to our office no later than December 3, 2024. If you have any questions or need further assistance, reach out to your NEA, Neighborhood Empowerment Assistant, Associate, Advocate. Advocate. Thank you. That is the whole of the letter. Okay, so basically, again, there's two choices: whether we continue as planned and do a whole vote by mail election, or turn it into a selection process. Laura has read a little bit about the requirements for that. Keep in mind that that is a 2019, the 2019 ordinances. Those things might change, those things might not. There's also the question of if the individual neighborhood council bylaws allow such a thing. I don't know how many neighborhood councils had that type of foresight to go and be like, hey, we're going to do all of this or not. But that is the basic thing that's going on, okay? And remember, we still need to hear from Empower LA. This has all been kind of rushed from the process,
Just
and
a
given that
little
we were
bit,
actually,
huh?
yeah, so we're given that we were also a little bit behind the ball, finding an elections chair and all this other stuff. So it kind of seems like everything's coming all at once, but that's why we're having this meeting a little bit so that we can talk a little bit. David, go for it.
Yeah, I want to say after hearing that as well, thank you for reading that. I would say the biggest things that stick in my head, to your point, like it's a very quick decision to make. At the end of the day, our committee figuring out our recommendation, still needing to be approved by our board, hearing that it would be locked in for that year The only thing that made me a bit less, and again, still kind of need to look at all the documentation, but made me a bit less anxious about it would be that it wouldn't be able to be changed for the entire year. So we could revisit it next year if we wanted to, it seems like. And additionally, with at 2 years and excuse me, visit that every 2 years. But the other question is, like you said, the amount that we're going to be spending, would it then within this process turn to us investing and getting the word out about our town hall versus the town hall, the voting and all the other materials? That's where it's like, okay, if we're able to use our resources in a way that garners the attention of people who are going to see that once or twice and be ready, willing, get in touch, be at this event, that seems beneficial. But I'm just not sure about the entire recommendation, but would love to hear everyone's thoughts, but just kind of wanted to put that out there.
Okay, Teresa?
Thanks, Ever. I will say that the budget proposal that we received from Print Depot was less than $1,200. So it's not an exorbitant amount of money. So even if we were to go down this path to try to garner more participants, the $1,200 is not a big deal if we still want to go down that path.
Candace? Or
I forgot. I got to use my little hand. I agree with Teresa. We do have a rollover amount that is confirmed. That's our money. So, I'm also in the process of going through the budget to bring to the executive board to bring to the December meeting about how we should move that money around. My thought on it is it sounds like the neighborhood empowerment is sending further details about what this selection process will look like. So my thoughts is that hopefully they're not egregiously long, but it's kind of hard to make a decision because the rules Laura read for from 2019. So there's a world in which they release whatever this selection process looks like. And we're like, oh, that's not bad. But it's really kind of hard to make the decision now when they're like, yeah, we'll tell y'all later what that's going to look like. I think it'll be, I don't want to say the W word, wait until they put out what selection will look like, but it really is kind of hard to just marry yourself to one way or the other until they put out what the process will actually be.
Hunter? You're muted, by the way. Hope.
I agree. I guess I'm wondering if instead of having a special meeting in December close to the holidays, we could just maybe change the date of our meeting so that way we like instead of doing the first Thursday, we can just do it so that way we hit that deadline. Which is I think just a couple days sooner or something. So that way we still have a month or something to decide. We can meet on whatever, December 2nd or something, maybe that Monday instead of that Thursday and still hit that deadline.
Okay.
And
Laura?
real quick, do we know when the additional details or what have you from Empower LA would be released? Okay.
No.
And just
Hopefully
I'm
within a
asking
week.
before that date that the decision needs to be made, but that's really all we know, correct?
Yeah, it
Yeah.
just needs to be
Right.
then
Okay.
December 3rd.
Okay.
Laura?
Am I called on? Yeah. So
Yeah.
the problem is, in terms of getting quorum, December 1st would be the month. I mean, December 2nd would be the Monday. And when they say December 3rd, they don't mean at midnight unless we could convince them to meet midnight. So we could have a meeting on the Tuesday. But they would probably mean during their work day on December 3rd. So that would leave us December 2nd. And that's right after Thanksgiving weekend. I'm not sure if we can guarantee quorum for a meeting on Monday, December 2nd. So, I mean, in other words, I'm a little more comfortable, weirdly enough. I'd be a little more comfortable with a 30-minute Zoom meeting called special before Thanksgiving than I would a Monday, December 2nd, a real board meeting, frankly. Just saying. But that's just me knowing how hard it has been for us to get quorum lately. And I know we have 2 new board members. Thank you. And you're here. So we can get you to commit that no matter what we decide about that, you'll be there. So we have some quorum, a bit of a quorum, more quorum guarantee. Quorum is 13. It doesn't change with the addition of new board members. I'm really concerned that they did this so last minute. I mean, it's just very strange. And what I don't know, I mean, the parts that we don't know are, does it change our timeline? Does it give us more time to find candidates? Do we have to stick to the Region 10 timeline? If we don't have to stick to the already announced timeline of candidates have to sign up over the holidays and no later than January 20th. If we buy some time and just have to have the selection by that stated date in April, I'm really comfortable with trying to plan a town hall type thing because we have plenty of time to do it. If what they say is you have to have your candidates sign up at the same timeline that they've already announced, and 30 days later have a town hall, we can't do it. So the devils are really in the detail. I mean, there's no way for us to plan a town hall late January, early February. So the devils are in the detail. If it wasn't so late, I think I'd be inclined to support a town hall selection type process, because I think our job as a neighborhood council is to get people together versus spending all this time getting people to fill out paper ballots and mail them back. You know, there's no community engagement involved in that. And if our job is community engagement, let's do something that has community engagement. It's my opinion. Getting people to a town hall would be hard too, but maybe not as hard because you can have delicious food and it can be free. No, my hand can go down. So that's my opinion. I mean, it's just that I don't know that I'm prepared to make a recommendation for November 7. I mean, that's like, yeah, hard.
Candace.
Yeah, I also wonder. So it sounds like they're addressing new candidates coming in, but I also wonder what a selection process does for board members who were up for the seat. Like, are you still presenting against someone who might be
You
coming
still
in?
have to apply.
Huh?
You just have to apply.
You still have to apply.
Like by the filing deadline?
Yeah, the way I read it, Candace, oh, sorry, Ever, if I could just jump in. The way I read it is that anybody who's interested, current members or new people, you would still go through, but the board would select you. Instead of running in a competitive race, the board would then just, you know, if it's a competitive seat, the board, the way we do now. I mean, the way, you know, you guys finagled some stuff when I was away, but it was the way that went with Ever and David. They both came forward and then the board would make a selection. So that's how I read it. I do have a question about the town hall. And let's forget about done and let's talk about what we would like and how, if we are to do a selection process, how we would want that to work for us. And I thought that was a good idea. Maybe it was Laura, but I know Hunter said it again about having a town hall and getting everybody, the people who are interested in being selected, if we go down that path, and also the community members. I mean, we could do it via Zoom during the pandemic. That's how we did it. We had everybody on Zoom. I like the idea of being in person a little bit better. We could have refreshments and give everybody a chance to talk. But also we could then have it moderated, and we could have the people, you know, on a dais or something, and everybody, we could ask them different questions. I mean, we could conceive and do it any way we want if we go down that selection process instead of the election.
Laura?
Yeah, I mean, again, I'm sorry, I'm reading this thing. I think maybe what I read, since I was going fast, I was skipping over.
Laura, that's from 2019.
I know,
and
but
so much has changed since then. So much. I don't think we should rely on that.
Well, I think the one piece that I skipped over that's important is that any stakeholder present is who's voting. It's not just the board, including candidates. I mean, in other words, it's an election. It's just that it's in person. And I'm gonna guess it's not private voting, but it's any, what this said, any stakeholder who's present may vote. So again, I recognize it was 2019, but I don't think they would undo that component. Like, I'm pretty sure it's, if you prove yourself a stakeholder, you can vote. I don't know. It's again too bad that they didn't do this a little bit ago.
And I
Candace,
will just say this, that we are one, if not the only one of a few neighborhood councils that allow community members who attend our committee meetings to vote. Normally that is not the case. So I'm not sure when they made that statement, if they were making it as the exception for UNNC or following a path that normally applies to most neighborhood councils. So, but yes, maybe we can wait and see if that's what you guys want to do.
Here's what I'm thinking. So our general board meeting is next week, right? Yes, okay. So our general
Right.
board meeting is next week, and I feel like we got something like 20 minutes left here before 8. So maybe we could table the which process are we actually going to use until Dunn comes out with actual instructions about what that's going to look like. And then to the budget part, maybe just decide whichever one we choose, since we got a good quote from Print Depot, maybe we could just work with, what'd you say, like $1,500 or whatever it was, just allot the money so we could talk to the board about that part next week. So whatever flyers we make, we're gonna need money to get the word out, regardless of if it's an election process or if it's a selection process. So what we can decide tonight is just, here's $1,500 election committee for
Candace, we have to make a decision by December 3rd.
huh?
So we have to make a decision by December 3rd. Our
For
next board meeting is until December the 5th. So we would either have to, the board would have to make a decision November 7th, or we would have to have a special meeting, or we just don't vote at all and we just stay with the election process. So in that email, we have to let them know before our December board meeting.
I feel
I
like
just think it's hard to do when we don't know completely what the other thing is. So we could just say we don't care what it is and just go with an election if that's what we want to do for efficiency's sake. But I think that's really a hard thing to do if we don't know exactly what they're going to tell us we can and can't do.
question, do we have any meetings scheduled for next Monday?
I mean, we still also have 10 days until the general board meeting. I feel like they're not going to leave us in the dark for 10 whole days. I would imagine that they would have a plan with hopefully by the end of the week. And if not by
Yeah,
the end of the
so
week, by next Tuesday, maybe, and we'll be able to know more at least before the next board meeting. And if
yeah,
they leave us in the dark, then it's like, okay, then maybe at that point we just make the call to just do a general election because they're taking their sweet time anyway. But it's hard to know because I understand there's so little time between now and when we need to decide, but they must know that as well. And I imagine they're coming up with some sort of plan to expedite the process, hopefully. And if not, then we know about it and then we say, you know what, we don't want this anyway.
yeah. Just keep in mind the next Tuesday is election night. So I don't know how busy the city clerk is gonna be
I
for
mean,
I
this
don't
whole
think we should do anything on election night.
Yeah.
no,
just
no,
to
no.
be
Yeah,
I'm
honest.
just
so
saying,
that's
hopefully
why
they'll have answers by the end of the week. And if not by the end of the week, hopefully by a week from now.
yeah, this is why I was wondering if there was any meeting on Monday specifically, so that if in case we can do our meeting or have another meeting on Monday, kind of just in case they sent something throughout the
Okay.
week. What do you think, Laura?
Monday the 4th.
Yeah, we UNNC do not have a meeting on Monday, but
Oh.
I want to note that our agenda for the 7th is due no later than 5 p.m. on Monday. So we can put this question on the agenda without an answer. Yeah, should UNNC so just choose to have a election rather than an election can be on the agenda. But if we don't meet till Monday night, we can't have the committee's recommendation on the agenda, which is not really a problem. I just want to point that out.
Yeah. Well, I
We
think that,
would not be able to vote without having an agenda item, but we don't have to say what we're recommending as the agenda item for the governing board.
I think that the consensus here is if we don't hear anything by basically next week or Monday, like something should be coming in these coming days, right? So by Friday, we should either have some empower or from someone, right, more details or whatever that is going to be looking like,
Yeah.
on whether that's going to happen, right? The reason I wanted to have the meeting on Monday is to
Yeah.
discuss if they send all of that. If they don't, then by Monday we would already be like, well, you know what? They're taking the time, they're doing all of these things, then we'll just stick to the election model anyway, which is what we were preparing for in the first hand. And that would be
Except
our
it's not,
that would be our
Yeah,
recommendation to the board.
fine, but I'm just saying, we're gonna have to put it on the agenda before we have our meeting. Also, I just
Or
looked at
just put it on the agenda as an open item, and on Monday, if we
Exactly.
have something, then we can then,
Exactly,
yeah, so.
exactly.
Okay,
Also,
agree
I
with you,
did,
Ever, that the consensus is that we're just gonna wait till we get some more.
and
So,
hopefully we meet on the 4th.
yeah, so we'll just,
Yeah, and
Um,
also, trying to say, and also, I'm looking at the bylaws. Our bylaws would, what they say is administration of election, the neighborhood council's election will be conducted pursuant to any and all city ordinances, policies, and procedures pertaining to neighborhood council elections. So it sounds like we would be allowed to do it because it's so generic. That this would be a procedure that Dunn has created.
okay, that sounds good.
So, does anybody have any other comments related to this issue that we had, or are we comfortable, one, tabling it or, reopening it again on Monday? If we get any information from Dunn, if we get any information from anybody else, kind of, and or does anybody want to keep on kicking it down the road or stuff like that? And then are you guys okay with meeting Monday? Is that okay with everybody here? Do you guys have time? Do you guys have anything else or anything like that?
I'm not positive I'll be able to make Monday, but I will try.
Oh,
I can make
okay.
Monday.
Yeah, I know I have
Okay.
a scheduling conflict, but I trust y'all.
Okay.
If you'll meet on Monday, yes.
Okay. Well, it's good that you're here for the budget part. Is the good
Okay,
thing.
so, so it is 7:46. I mean, I think we're good on Monday because it doesn't have to be
Well, we didn't hear
everybody.
from me and you didn't hear from David, so
Okay,
David,
sorry.
are you available on Monday?
I have to double check my schedule, just to make sure I don't have any like last minute business meeting or travel, but I could definitely check in the next like hour or, a couple minutes and just let you know, Ever, send you a
Okay.
direct email.
Okay.
And I'm available ever too, so.
Okay. So we would have at least 3, possibly 4, 5, if that makes sense. So I think that we could do that for Monday, hopefully, and I think that that's what's going to happen. We're going to get some letters or emails either tomorrow, Thursday, or Friday regarding all of this, and we'll
And
have more
Ever,
information.
also, you can email Alfonso directly and let him know that we are postponing making a recommendation to the board. So if he could please get back to you with some guidance, because I think
Yeah.
that's what she mentioned. So maybe just email him. So let him know that we're under a time crunch. So
Yeah, we have all of this. Okay, I'll do that. I'll do that tomorrow, actually, for sure. For sure. Okay. So, everybody okay with moving back to the previous item, which was the budget? And then we know that this is not this is basically whatever we're gonna be asking for, what the details of what the budget is gonna say, is just depending on what we end up recommending to the board and what the board ultimately decides. But like I said, or like we discussed earlier, the budget, we're still gonna need something for this phase 1, whether it is for a town hall or anything else or anything else. that is to be discussed or anything. But like I was saying earlier, Teresa and I, once again, thank you. She went and introduced me to the Print Depot people and Esteban, and he was very helpful, very accommodating to what we had, what we wanted to do. And so basically, what we ended up asking for in their quote was a quote for flyers, and there's two types of flyers, and a quote for banners, and a quote for a front-facing adhesive vinyl. That is the stuff that we asked for. Teresa?
Can you share the document? I believe I put it in the
Yes,
agenda packet.
we will do that. Yes, give me 1 second. I'll get that. Sorry, I pressed the wrong one, but yes. Let me do that. Oh, um, sorry about that, guys. I'm having a little bit of a.
I can share if you like, Ever.
Yeah. Oh wait, I have it. I have it here. Sorry, it wasn't letting me open it for some reason. Sorry about that. Okay, and we have. Oh, actually, oh, here, hold on.
It might make you like restart or something. Sometimes when I have share issues, it can be finicky with the permissions and stuff.
Yeah, would you mind? Yeah, you know what? To
Okay,
just
I
save
gave
time,
you
would you
full
mind?
hosting, so if you could give me the hosting back.
Oh, oh, yeah. Sorry. Oh, sorry. Oh
Oh,
man,
sorry. Yeah, you have to give me
yeah,
hosting back.
here we go, right there, and we're good. I think that works. I think that
It
works.
hasn't moved yet. What you do is put the cursor next to the UNNC co-host. There you go.
There you go. We got it. Okay,
Okay.
and
So can you guys
okay,
see
so
that?
there you go. So
Yes.
as you can see right there, that is the email that Print Depot sent us. That is our quote that we got. It says flyers thin, and if you look, we asked for 200 versions of each. So we're gonna do 600 flyers in total, but we had to divide it by sections of 200 because we wanted to do the languages. So one in English, one in Spanish, and one in Korean. If that wasn't if I'm clear on that, Korean was the language that we went with.
Yeah.
Like previous elections. Yeah. So the reason that that goes in, the thin version. So he did give us the option. What I'm holding here in my hand, I don't know if you could see it fully. But basically is there's two versions. This one that is kind of um that is kind of cut off. There you go. So this is a little bit more of a paperish, flexible type of version, and it's thin. That's what you read, flyers thin. It's this, right? And then there's the other one, which is more of the traditional cardstock version that looks more of a postcard thing. So those are the quotes that he's giving on them. If you see the thin one, the thin version is a little bit cheaper at 195 per 200. So in total for three versions, English, Spanish, and Korean, it would be around $600 if we do it in the thin version. If we do it in the thick version, each 200 packet would be 210 plus tax. So it goes up a little bit, like, depending on to like
Remember, it's
six.
a $50 dip. It's a simple
Yeah,
$50 difference.
Right.
yeah.
And the
So
reason why Ever
the
liked, sorry, Ever, if I could just cut in,
oh,
Ever had a good point about the thin stock, is that people, if they picked it up at the cafe or picked it up at a business location, they could fold it and put it in their pocket, where the other one is, it's the thicker stock. So,
Right,
it's a
but the
preference.
thinner stuff tends to stick together.
David?
The gloss book tends to, because I make a lot of flyers, and that's what you would normally do on a threefold brochure or just for nice flyers. They tend to stick together when they're in a pile.
Okay.
Brochures don't when you do a trifold, but when you're just doing a flyer, because I print them for real estate, real estate purpose. You sometimes have to fan them out just to pick up a single one because they tend to stick together. So that may not be good when we're leaving piles places. I understand the part about folding them, but I don't
Oh,
know.
okay.
David has his hand up, sorry.
David?
Yeah, just the
David?
quick question was just to make sure I'm understanding so that for the thin option, for example, $600 for the 3 versions.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
Is there other like options we've looked at as well? Just because it seems a little high, but just wanted to ask that real quick. Or is this just someone we've worked with before that, we have a good
We
relationship?
have an account.
Okay,
Yeah.
for sure.
They usually treat us very well.
Okay, for sure. Thank you.
And we don't have to pay in advance.
Oh, well, there
Yeah.
you go.
and also in
And-
this case, Geraldo, who is, we had talked before about including a design fee. Geraldo is out for a month and a half. So as long as we keep the design, moderately simple, Esteban is willing to help us with that without, for no charge.
Oh, okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are these, but what I'm not seeing on this bid, the 4/4 is the 4 color, is that correct? It's not the double-sided. Is this printing on both sides?
It's printed on both sides. Well,
Okay.
Ever, you want to chime in? I don't want to.
Yeah, it was we did ask for both sides and the colors on all of that
Okay.
stuff. That should be in the price that we discussed with them because we told them that it wasn't gonna be a mailer, so we needed both sides and that we needed basically information and stuff like that. So this is the price that he gave us. Remember that it does say plus tax on each of these things.
Yeah.
So so rough
The
estimates.
total, everything on here, it's like a very reasonable price. And the flyers, whichever one we choose, it's not a simple 600 because of the tax, but it's going to be 700 or less.
Yeah.
And are you proposing, since we're also proposing at the moment, just to have the money available, a couple of banners and this other thing, are you proposing a total budget of phase 1 of about $1,200? Is that the gist of this? I mean, in other words, always pad it, always give yourself a contingency.
Yeah. So it's around that amount. And then like what I wanted to discuss here is, like, did you guys have a preference on thin versus thick? Did you guys what did you want it to, was it okay to do the 3 versions, all of that stuff? But roughly, yeah, we're looking around $1,200 at most on this first phase. Was there anything that you guys wanted to add? Did you guys think we need more banners? Did you guys think we need less? We added all of these things, like for example, the front facing adhesive. All of these things are also subject to whether the area that is given to us where we have our governing board meeting, the one on Gramercy, if that locale lets us post it and put it on the door and stuff like that. So that's also pending on it and stuff. So
Yeah.
but yeah, like long answer or
Well, the
to
thing
make
is,
it,
can't spend more, we can spend less. We can't,
yes.
and we can spend later on it on the first BAC. So we can be generous on this, because the other thing that we haven't, Hunter and I are in somewhat disagreement on is whether or not, well, we're very much disagreement. We should do Facebook posts, for example. And that would be maybe another $200, maybe. And it's just that we can't spend more than we put on the BAC, but we are never in trouble for spending less.
Yeah, okay.
I see
Teresa
two other
and then
hands.
Candace, yeah.
Well, I have two comments. Yes, I agree with Laura. So if we were to say, because this comes under 1,000, we could say 1,200, we could say 1,500, which gives us a lot of flexibility. And that's something that we did when we
Right.
did, Dolores and I did the outreach. I think we asked for 2,500 and, we came in under 2,000 or something like that. So it's easier if that's a safe way to go. But also I
Okay.
had the question, Laura, have you talked to Gramercy to find out if we can put a decal in the window?
Oh, did I say I would do that? If I did, I apologize. I will email Sarah in the morning.
Yeah,
I'll write it down right now.
include Letty on that too, so she won't feel, because she is the manager of the building.
Yes, well, yes, I will include Lady, but I'll clearly include Sarah.
Okay,
Because Sarah will probably say yes and Letty will probably say no. So yes, yeah. So my strategy would be to ask the owner and
Okay.
see how it goes. Okay, but I'm writing it down that I'm doing it tomorrow.
Okay. And Teresa, did you have anything else, or we'll do Candace and then Hunter? Yes. If you didn't, if you're okay, you good with it? Yeah, Candace.
I just had a real easy question.
Mhm.
I know around election time, the last time there were elections, I saw that there were like little yard signs for members who were previously on the board. Do you know if that was successful? Is that something that y'all would want to do?
we
It
last
wasn't for
meeting,
members who were on the board.
yeah, we talked about all the options that we had gone through before and how most of them were not successful. So we were kind of thinking, but remember, this is a phase, if we were going to do elections, it's a 3-phase approach. So maybe the second phase would be to do some creative outreach. Right now, I think we're just trying to get as many candidates and do the outreach to get candidates.
Yeah, Hunter.
Yeah, I guess Laura and I disagree on Facebook posting or boosting. I do agree that we should give ourselves maybe a healthy budget for this. You said what, 1,200 was like the top of what we would need for Print Depot. Maybe we give ourselves 1,500, just give us a little cushion room. Especially if we end up doing a selection, we're not gonna have to put money into the rest of the election process. It's like we might as well spend a little bit more now to get good candidates. And either way, whatever we end up choosing, having strong candidates will help us the rest of the election process. And then yeah, we can use that extra money on whatever we want, Facebook boosts, another banner, whatever we see fit.
Okay. Teresa.
And I will, Candace, what was our rollover again? 8,000?
Yeah.
Yeah,
So I have the numbers here.
Okay.
Our rollover is 8,563.
So
In my rough math, I was like, well, if elections has to do a lot of stuff, y'all could probably get maybe 2 to 3,000 of that. And then maybe that leaves like 5,500 left, which I guess I'm working with Laura at some point to come up with better ways to allot it. But I'm working through the budget just to kind of see, because in December, well, we'll talk about it exact, but in December, as a governing board, we're going to talk about how to allot our rollover. So that was just my initial thought for the total budget of elections. I think $3,000 sounds about right. So if you want to dole it out and say 12 now and then another 12 later.
and I think, yeah, thanks, Candace, but I think it may be more than that. If we go with elections, it may be 15, 15, 15.
Okay.
And what we have done in the past, not that we have to do that again, but we have used all of the rollover in the past for elections because that still leaves us with the 32,000 as our regular budget. So this rollover is a generous thing for us to use for, you know, for elections or however we want to do it. But I would say that let's think that it's going to be 15, 15, 15 at least.
Okay. I didn't know that because I feel like we kind of talked about this. I didn't know we wanted to use all of it for elections, but yeah, I don't mind. It's fine. All right.
Well, I'm going to remind everybody, it really was, there was a conversation at executive and this would be maybe after Teresa left executive, that we would use 5,000 of the rollover, or maybe it was last year. But I mean, what we decided at the June board meeting, which is already old news.
Well, I was at
When
the
we
June
thought-
board
when we
meeting and I was
thought
still
we
on
had-
executive
Yeah,
then,
I
so.
know.
but-
I know. When in the June board meeting, when we thought we had 5,600 or thereabouts for the rollover, we decided we would budget 0 for elections in the 32,000 and use the rollover for elections. But that's when we thought we had around $5,000 rollover. Now we have around 9,000, and that was not the intention to spend 9,000 on elections. Yeah, in other words, we didn't think we had 9,000. So, I think we might be wanting to spend more than 3. I mean, even if we did the C-election with the town hall won't be inexpensive. I mean, we'll have to spend money on it. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I
which
mean,
is fine.
I was
That's
thinking
our job.
I was thinking anywhere from 3 to 5 would be our actual like working
Total
budget.
election budget.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I was
But
thinking around that.
we have to vote on line items. So this first one, this $1,500, you will need to do it as a line item it is a line item where we say printing and other, of outreach materials and other marketing costs or something like that. I mean, whatever the language was we used 2 years ago, we can use the same language. And it
Okay.
gave us some flexibility.
All right, so I think everybody's comfortable with going to the board and asking for $1,500 then as our
Mhm.
phase 1 budget. So I make a motion to say that our phase 1 budget is going to be $1,500 that we will ask for the board, and as line items for this first phase of the election.
Mhm.
Anybody second? Anybody
A
go with
second.
it?
Yeah.
Second. Yeah, everybody in agreement? Please raise your hands, or virtual or anything. We're in agreement. Yeah. And motion passes. Okay, so we are going to go to the board and ask for $1,500 as our phase 1 budget for the elections. Yes, Teresa.
Oh, thank you. And Candace, just so you know,
Mhm.
because we have a tight deadline, we're not ever, and the committee decided we're going to go straight to the board instead of going to executive. We know that normally you go to executive, but because of the timing, we've decided we're just
Right.
going to go straight to governing board.
I mean, half the board's here, so y'all straight.
Right.
If the money's
Yeah,
here,
that's
the
fine.
papers are here.
Yeah.
Teresa, are you going to work with Ever on filling out that administrative
Yes, I
budget
told him that
request?
I would help him. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
And
yes,
then
yes, yes.
is that something that comes to me and then I have to submit to Anna?
No,
Is it?
this is
Oh,
it's an internal form, but we have to see the budget page of it when we vote on the BAC.
okay.
Yeah.
We don't have
I mean,
to give it
it's,
to her, but we have to see it,
Okay.
essentially.
Yeah. I'll message you, Teresa, when you have a free time, and then we can kind of meet up and do all of that. I don't mind anything. I don't mind that at
it's
all.
easy. We can knock it out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an internal document just so that the board has something that they can review when, to ask questions. So we could do it.
Okay. All right. So we knocked out our conversations and our squabbles, and we talked about money, and
Yeah.
we learned a little bit about each other along the way, I think. The real the real election process is the friends you make along the way, is what they say, right? So does anybody have any other comments? Anything else that you guys want to discuss? I think
Well,
we're good.
Yeah, just that
$1,500.
we had 2 people on the
Oh.
meeting that weren't there before. What we're talking about for the December board meeting / holiday celebration is put much more emphasis, to the extent we can, on the latter, and make it also a each one bring one kind of celebration, bring potential candidates to the meeting. So they might be competing with some of ourselves, but that's okay. But bring people to that. So, the way they've now changed how we can do refreshments at board meetings is that it's a broader number of things that we can serve for food, but we cannot exceed $10 per person. So we might need to do a slight RSVP cutoff, with at least internally process. And if we overspend on the 200, that's okay, because our budget is really for the year, not for the month. But so that's what we're thinking, is just have a nice, maybe another El Cho's, the same thing we had last year, but without pushback from the clerk when we give them the bill, just so long as we keep it under $10 per attendee.
Okay.
That sounds
Yeah.
good. to me.
That sounds like a good thing. Did you guys want to discuss this boosting versus just regular posting stuff?
Oh,
Or
the director
that
of communication. No, he's
We
the
can deal
director.
with that later. Yeah.
If he doesn't want to do it, we won't be doing it. I'm just saying Raheem liked doing it, his predecessor.
I can look
And
into
I
it.
do
If it's
not know-
possible to do only certain zip codes, it might be helpful. And I think there is a way to do that, especially on
Yeah.
Facebook. Especially on Facebook. If we're talking like Instagram, I don't think that that's possible, but
Right.
on Facebook, I think it is. That could
It's
be
not
worth
very
looking into, but
expensive.
no,
It's
probably
not very
70
expensive.
to $100 or something per, but it'll be per
Not,
day or
it's
something.
like $20 per boost. It's like really not expensive.
Okay.
However, we'd have to embed a new credit card, because whatever credit card was there is not the cards we have.
okay.
I think we approve the budget and then we can kind of figure that out.
Okay. Teresa?
Yeah, I would like to find out more about the boosting too. We can do it just so I have a greater understanding. And I do think, Hunter, that it is inexpensive. I remember seeing like on some of the MERs, it was $5 or $10. It
Right.
wasn't very expensive. Maybe we didn't
Makes sense.
do it extensively, but we
Mhm.
could talk about that more down the line.
Yeah, maybe if it's like boosting it, but only to certain people, so that way you're not boosting it to,
Right.
thousands and thousands of people, but you're boosting it to a very certain specific amount of people within a certain area. It might be cheaper than I'm thinking.
You
Yeah.
should be able to drag, especially on Facebook, you should be able to grab, like, we use that a lot for the concerts and stuff we promote for my 9 to 5. You should be able to like grab the smallest circle of literally just our council, within whatever zip codes, and make it $7 even, and you might reach 500 people. So it shouldn't impact budget too much.
Cool.
Okay.
And then I just wanted to confirm, so I can update the Zoom. We're Monday, November the 4th from 7 to 8. That's ever.
Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah, it was that. Yeah. I think we'll do it Monday, and then if you guys can join, we would love to have you. And just kind of do it that way. We also had a little bit of an update that Hunter, our communications director, has also graciously allotted his day to also be elections/communications. Is that still going on?
Isn't that the other way around? We're doing November 12th on Zoom.
Yeah, I think that's what we
Hunter
decided last time.
gave up his day, the 21st,
To homelessness
the homelessness committee.
for at least November and
For
December.
November, yeah, for November. And then you
Yeah.
guys are doing a meeting on the 12th, and we're not announcing it as Zoom or hybrid yet. I'm gonna book the room for the HBOC. I have to do the calendar tomorrow for South Sea's house. And if the HBOC cancels, we can consider having a hybrid meeting on the 12th. But as long as we're all here, speaking of, and Teresa already can't do this, for the homelessness committee on the 21st, I most likely won't be able to be the host. And that is because I'm having a minor but actual little teeny surgery on my leg at 4 p.m. in the afternoon in Santa Monica. So I'm just not thinking I should be.
And
at 6:30 I can host.
Right, and I will be out of town. So Hunter, I think you or Marco are the next people in line to wrangle and to host a meeting.
Okay.
So that Thursday, November 21st for homelessness.
And is that in person or is that?
Yeah, that's at the South Sea's house, and it's Tori's meeting, but Tori can't do the Zoom host part. It's the setting it up, it's the Zoom host.
So she'll be there. She just needs somebody to help set up the Zoom.
Yeah, and
Right.
probably to
Okay.
run it to, admit people and,
Yeah, and
share
her
her
meetings
agenda.
would come and go. It was busy at the last meeting with people. I mean, two of the attendees in particular kept falling off and doing it back in. It's the Zoom hosting stuff.
I see.
But if you don't think you can, then Laura maybe can reach out to Marco.
I
Right.
think I can make that work. If I can't, I'll let you know, but I think I can do that.
Yeah, and I may be able to sub in at 7:30 or 8, but I can't be. I know I
Don't
can't
worry
be
about
there.
it. No, don't worry about it. If you're having surgery earlier that afternoon,
Well, it's a little surgery.
it's
Well, I mean,
fine.
I'm in hyper overdrive anxiety about it, but it's a little surgery. Anyone else would say it's a teeny thing, but it's a teeny thing in Santa Monica at 4:00.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, with nobody adding anything else, at
Oh yeah,
7
sorry.
at 8:14, we'll call this meeting adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate every one of you. Have a good one. We will see
Oh,
each
thank
other
you.
soon.
Thank
All
you.
right.